existential despair to the possibility of singular, profound recognition,
So it acknowledges that the pain is too great to be borne alone.
and that the search for external validation is not a wish, but a survival mechanism.
So if the pain is invisible and you default to thinking it must be unique to you, the greatest need isn't just attention, it's proof.
Proof that your specific, illegible pain has been felt and survived by another.
Exactly. The relief comes from realizing that while your suffering might feel unique to you,
The pattern of profound human suffering is not unique, and someone else has walked a path just as dark.
this recognition is what kicks off our shift into the third section, the active search for comfort in shared humanity. The speaker states they run to a loving savior.
Precisely because that figure felt all that I do. Right.
The comfort is predicated entirely on empathy from experience, not sympathy from observation.
It's not enough for the figure to care.
No, they must have felt the same internal war, the same isolation. This is the crucial barrier that the friends and family, the ones who say you look well, they can't cross it.
So what's the mechanism that makes this figure's experience so validating?
It's the explicit requirement that the figure is human too, that shared humanity is the bridge. Since the speaker felt ostracized and walled off in that crowded room, the realization that this external source of comfort also experienced fragility, exhaustion, and loneliness.
It means the empathy is genuine.
It breaks the assumption that the speaker's internal life is inherently alien.
And the lyrics don't leave this as some vague theoretical point. They anchor this shared suffering with a really specific, intense historical analogy.
A scene of ultimate personal crisis.
They compare their anguish to the figure who felt in the garden in your anguish crying alone. This is the pinnacle of identified shared suffering, because that moment in the garden represents ultimate isolation, vulnerability, and fear.
It's loneliness magnified. The figure in the garden was facing a profound, unavoidable crisis, and crucially,
The lyric points out that they, like the speaker, had to make sense of the suffering.
that's the key linkage. The speaker's war, in my mind, is the effort to make sense of why they are so exhausted, so fragile, so isolated.
And by linking that struggle to the figure's profound moment of crisis, the ultimate example of struggling to understand why, it validates the speaker's own effort to find meaning in their pain.
The struggle is dignified by this comparison.
Yes.
So the path out of that feeling of being uniquely isolated isn't through being known by every single person in the crowded room.
No, it's about identifying one single source, one figure, who understands the depth of that feeling.
It's a prioritization of connection.
It is. When pain is profound, you don't need shallow, generalized sympathy. You need deep, felt empathy. And finding that single source of recognition takes the burden of unique incomprehension off the speaker's shoulders.
The moment the suffering is validated, the isolation begins to dissolve.
Right.
That makes perfect sense. And moving into our final section, the focus shifts entirely from that immediate, overwhelming pain to a clear vision of resolution.
Of hope.
Exactly. The speaker says they can't wait for the day that I feel like myself again. It's a forward-looking goal defined by a return to that lost past self they had been grieving.
And the lyrics give us a fantastic metaphorical image for what successful resolution looks like.
They do.
The speaker hopes that all the hard-won survival, all the moments of survive, as they call it, will become a chapter of life tucked away on a shelf.
That chef image is phenomenal. It's not just about forgetting the suffering, is it?
Far from it.
Yeah.
When you tuck a chapter away on a shelf, it implies several things. First, the struggle is recognized as foundational. It's a chapter of life. It's essential to the overall story.
Okay. Second, it is acknowledged as hard-won. It's labeled survive. But most importantly, it is temporary.
It's finished.
It's finished. It is filed away.
Right.
It is no longer the active, exhausting war. It is now a historical record of victory that informs the present self, but does not define or consume it.
That is such a healthy articulation of healing. You integrate the pain without letting it dominate the future. But even with this profound personal comfort and this vision for the future, the lyrics acknowledge an immense, unresolved philosophical question.
About universal suffering.
Yeah, the speaker pulls back and observes the wider world, acknowledging that, on this side of heaven, I may never know why some of your children get to the end of their road.
That's an incredibly heavy existential query.
It is. Why does suffering exist, and why does it end so tragically for some? The speaker knows they may never have the answer, even with their newfound comfort.
It shows the complexity of true belief in inner peace. Personal comfort doesn't solve global injustice or universal pain, but the lyrics offer a powerful response to that tension.
by immediately connecting that existential uncertainty back to the source of comfort. They note that this figure paved the way for the hopeless.
So the resolution isn't intellectual clarity about the why?
But functional relief through the who.
Well,
Precisely. Because the way was paved, the speaker knows they can run to the one who felt all that I do. The ability to find refuge and empathy, it supersedes the crushing need for a logical, cosmic explanation for pain.
the solution to isolation is found in recognition, not in philosophy.
That's it.
So let's unpack this journey for you. We started with this chaotic portrait of a mind at war.
Characterized by debilitating exhaustion, light sensitivity, and the fundamental pain of grieving a lost self.
And that internal chaos immediately led to intense social isolation, the feeling of being ostracized in a crowded room.
And we watched the speaker successfully bridge that isolation, not by getting universal understanding, but by identifying a singular source of profound felt empathy.
Right. Rooted in shared suffering and the validation that the struggle to make sense of the suffering is a worthy and universal endeavor.
The key takeaway here is how much detailed functional information can be contained in one personal narrative. We didn't need a medical chart or a psychology textbook to map this out.
No, it was all there. The physical manifestations of withdrawal, the psychological pain of identity loss.
All centered on that deep human need for recognition. And we end with that powerful metaphor of resolution. The goal of healing is filing the struggle away.
It's not denial. It's closure.
Exactly.
So for you to mull over, if the ultimate goal is for the struggle to become a chapter of life tucked away on a shelf, what are the specific elements of your own current struggle?
Whether it's feeling overwhelmed, isolated, or just tired of being exhausted.
What are the things that you hope will one day be defined, using the term from our source material, as survive and filed away? That's something we're thinking about this week.